Hello. I hope everyone is doing really good. So this will be a surprise. I finally got up the courage to do another video to finish out my part 3 of the Norse runes. There are a few runes, 9 of them to be exact, that I did not finish out of all of the Elderfuthark runes. So I figured, let me do it now. So let's go ahead and just jump into it, shall we? Okay, so the first rune for today that we're going to be looking at is Soilo. Okay, so here, remember, I always like to use my oracle cards because they have a very good interpretation of what Soilo looks like. Also has the symbol and the actual word on it itself. So Soilo represents the sun. So pretty much you're looking more like a good fortune, maybe like a higher self, success. I'm gonna put her here. Success, spiritual will, any type of like an awakening. So let me go ahead and show you what the rune looks like. So here's the rune that I have in my set. Okay. Remember, like I said, it's very good fortune, maybe popularity too. You could kind of look into that, maybe even a divine blessing. All right. So those are all the general meanings that you can have. And remember, any type of meaning you want, you can represent it yourself as well, how you feel to represent it. So I'm going to put her right there. The next rune we're going to look at is, I'm going to see if, okay, hold on, pronounce this right. Bear Quano. There we go. It always takes me a minute. I have to break it down on the word itself. So Bear Quano. So here's the rune itself, and here is what the oracle says, the representation of. And pretty much it's, as you can see from here, it represents woods. So Lady of the Woods in this case, or birch tree. So you're looking like a tree, very mothering, very nourishing, nurturing, healing. You can even use this as a Mother Earth as well. Let's see what else, maybe like a substance. We can also say that as very growthy. So I personally like to use her as Mother Earth itself. So when this card comes up or this rune comes up, I do look at it as a grounding, as a very healing aspect. But you can use it as just a complete growth as well. So here's Bear Quano. And there we go. There's her rune. So I'll put her here. Sorry, she's gonna be flipped a little. That's how my runes are set. All right, the next one is Awaz, and I really love Awaz. It's gorgeous. So in this case, it represents a horse. Well, funny thing is that's what the rune actually does represent, horse. Awaz does mean horse. So, because a horse likes to travel and do a lot of running and takes us where we need to go, that's what it is. It's about traveling. It's about inner journey, perhaps even self-control, because you have wild horses and then you have tamed horses. So there's the control aspect as well. You could even look at this as an astral projection too. Even marriage. Okay, so, you know, back in the day, they did use horse-drawn carriages during marriages. So you could definitely use it as a marriage card as well. So here's that rune. Okay. So here's those 3. Soilo, which means sun. Bear Quano, which means Lady of the Woods or birch tree. Then we also have Awaz, which means horse. Okay. Pull these 3 off. Bragas, wake up, baby girl. All right. The next one is going to be very different from what some people recognize it as and versus what my runes and even my oracle represent it as. But I've seen it different ways. So a lot of ways I've seen this is if you, let me get a piece of paper and let me actually draw this for you just to kind of give you an idea what I mean. So some people think this looks like a diamond. this next rune, which is Ingwaz, okay? That's what some people make it look like this, like a diamond. However, I've always known it to be like this, where they have the double X's on top of each other. So Ingwaz, this is that one, and I just love the crow on top. Okay, so now this one actually represents the opposite of what Berkano. So remember how I said it was Lady of the Woods or Mother Earth? Ingwaz represents the head of the penis, so the male version, or you can use it as a balance card, and you can also say the womb or the vagina. It's kind of your interpretation. So think of it as a balance. Think of it as two X's on top of each other, okay? Easiest way for me to remember it. So you can look at it as magnetic charging that kind of draws like on polarity, so balance, yin and yang, attraction to each other. Then if you want to think of it as a balance, male and female, you can look at it as sexual heat, maybe orgasms, unions, intensive creative abilities, stuff, anything like that, okay? So here is that rune, okay? Put him there. All right. Now, the next one is Laguz. Laguz. So Laguz represents a body of water, very like sea-like. Maybe even the ocean, if you want to go as more broad. You can look at it as journeying across the ocean, maybe traveling, artistic, creative ability, very emotion-like. You can make it represent dreams. You can even have it represent psychic powers or even the soul journey itself. Okay. Now, don't mind my rune. When they carved these, they accidentally put a bottom part, so I'm going to cut off what they accidentally messed up on, but you can see right here. Maybe if it'll zoom in the right way. There we go. So technically, this is what it looks like, just like this. It messed up on mine, but that's okay, because I still know what it represents, which is totally understandable. So there is Laguz. I love that. Can you tell I like saying that one? Laguz. All right. The next one we're going to look at as Manaz. All right. So Manaz means human, or mystery of the humans in a way, but it represents pretty much humans. So you're looking at yourself or the self, perhaps a family member, maybe a friendship, maybe transitional ascension or consciousness even. You can look at it as like a shaman. You could even look at it as like a spiritual healer as well. But this represents human. Now remember, I'm giving you different, very general types. You can pick and choose what you would like. And this is the rune for Manaz. Now, my personal experience with Manaz, I really like to let him represent the healer as the healer on a journey for themselves, traveling to find ways to help other people. So that's my representation of Manaz, okay? Because every human has their own destiny, their own journey. And I like to always look at it as a spiritual type of journey. So those are those three. All right. So the next one we're going to look at is one that so many people see. Some of them even have tattoos on their faces with this. It's really pretty. So you're looking at Othala. There we go. Othala. So this is a very common seen rune. It does mean homeland, and it does mean ancestral properties. You could make it represent home, perhaps even a inheritance, ancestor spirits, universal truth, sacred enclosure, okay? But it's home. It's a homeland to them. That's why a lot of people use this rune to represent home, okay? Maybe you need to come home. Maybe you should be home. Perhaps you need to reconnect with someone at home, okay? So here's the rune for Othalas. Othala. Othala. The next one is Thagis, or Thagaz, as some people say. So I know it says a DA, but remember how the pronunciation is not always the same as what it looks like, which always throws me off sometimes because I'm so used to American translations. So Thagaz. I always think she's absolutely gorgeous on this one. Okay, so this represents the day, or both beginnings and end. So a birth and death, or a rebirth and death. Okay, so it's the symbol of eternity. See, you can see it right there. So you're looking at anything that's security related, anything that's of clarity, certainty, very dramatic change, a path of destiny. Okay, so Thagaz. And here's her rune. So eternity, destiny, clarity, security, anything like that. Okay, and the last one that we are going to look at is what they consider the blank rune. So I don't have an oracle card for it, and that's because this deck didn't have it. But this is, let me clarify here what I want you to see, if it'll let me. Oh, she's gonna be a jerk. Anyways, so it's just a blank rune. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing there. Nothing at all. Okay, and this has been called many different types of terms. This has been known as Odin's rune. This has also been known as the weird rune. Weird as also as in W-Y-R-D, weird. So if you're looking at the Odin rune, then you can look at it more of like a wisdom rune. If you're looking at it as like the weird, as in the weird sisters, as in the 3 Norse fate sisters, you're looking at the past, present, and the future then. All 3 of those represents the knowledge, and all patrons of divination itself. So in reading, maybe you may be certain that something unexpected is going to come. Could be perceived as positive or even negative. What you give out comes back to you. That's one of the biggest things that the Weird Sisters always believed in, the Fate Sisters of the Norse side, as whatever you put out will always come back, kind of like a karma thing. This is the rune of kind of total trust, cosmic power, fate, evidence of your immediate contact with your own destiny. All right. So again, you find your interpretation of it and you go with that. I like using the Weird Sisters because, one, I do, I'm a witch, so I believe it 100% in trinities. But I also do believe in Odin. And Odin's very powerful. One-eyed Odin, I mean, he gave his eye for knowledge. So take your interpretation of it. I like to use both depending on the reading itself. You let me know what you guys think. All right, so I hope that wasn't too quick. I just wanted you to have the information and a brief summary of all these runes. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. If you guys have any questions, please drop the comments in the posting that this will go on. Let me know. If you ever want me to break down the runes one by one, I can. But let me know. I like using runes. Runes are a lot of fun. But I will say this, they're not easy to understand and they're not always right. Okay? And I mean, they're not always right as in the interpretation is a little bit harder to understand if you throw and toss the runes on a mat. And then you're kind of looking like, oh, I don't know, you see 3-4 different runes facing upwards. So you read off of those ones. Well, again, you have to figure out if you're reading from top to bottom or from bottom to top on how to interpret them. Because one rune can help define the next rune and then the next rune. So practice with them. Do small little mini readings. Pull one rune a day. Read that rune and see how that day or that rune interprets the day for you and see how you do. Comes practice. The runes are not supposed to be easy to read. They're not as easy as oracles or even tarots. There's not a set exact way to read runes, so also keep that in mind, okay? It is your interpretation. Meditate always with these. Call to the gods of the old. Call to Odin. Call to Freya. Odin is very, very happy to help if you ask for his help. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go, my loves. I hope you have a blessed day, and yeah, stay tuned for Witches Runes next. Okay, bye.